Stormers and Leinster, folks, two of the top sides, literally, in the URC, have just gone out in Dublin, and it's finished in a draw. We'll go through some of the key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Admittedly, it's been a wee while since I've seen the Stormers play. The games played in South Africa tend to be a pretty horrendous time zone for those of us here in NZ, but this game was kind of perfect timing. 8:30 in the morning, kick off, make the kids some breakfast, get them settled down, and then watch some Leinster Stormers. The breeze, if you can call it a breeze, wind, seemed to be pretty lopsided. Like the Stormers had it their back in the first half, and it was great seeing the Stormers again. It's like seeing an old friend that you haven't caught up with for a long time, and you just get back into it over a few beers, like it's been only a day or two. But seeing Malherbe and Kitsoff and Dweber, like goodness gracious, Libok. Happy times. But, I mean, it was happy times for the Stormers. They got the first points of the game. They had a 3-0 lead in the wet with the wind at their backs. They missed the drop goal on about a quarter of an hour because they were just trying to hunt down some points. Playing a kind of offloading game, which was ambitious given the weather conditions. But, hey, man, it's the Stormers, so why not? They did finally get a try, though, on 20 minutes, and it had to come. Libok is the man who finishes it off. Scrum pressure in Leinster's 22. Few phases, Van Heerden had a big carry, Dweber had a big carry, and Libok finishes it off with a wee dummy to put them 10 points to 0 up. And like, I guess to highlight how strong the wind was, the Stormers at one point, like from pretty much their own 22, put a kick through into Leinster territory, and the thing went dead. Like, yeah, that's some strong wind. So it was always going to be an interesting one to see how the second half turned out. And it's maybe not surprising that Leinster did actually manage to put on some points in that second half. But yeah, it was essentially at that point I was thinking, man, this is a chance for Leinster to get some momentum because they've been under the pump for a wee bit. Remember, Leinster are without all their Six Nations guys, so it's a real, like I mentioned in the post-match, it's a cohesive unit that have been playing a lot of rugby together, but it's not the top of the line guys essentially for Leinster. They've got like a factory line of talent, which just keeps coming through. But, they were certainly without some big guns. But, yeah, they had a chance to get some momentum. But the Stormers' defence held, man. And the Leinster boys ended up knocking it on when they were still pushing. 32 minutes, the Stormers were looked at for a potential deliberate knock-on. And they slowed the game right down for that one. They decided, like, it was sure it was a deliberate knock-on, but nothing more. Bit of one of those long stoppages that maybe is not quite necessary, but it ends up being a penalty to Leinster, so they're still able to kind of kick on, you're thinking, but it's the Stormers who score. Hartzenberg, man, on 33 minutes, and it's McGrath. His pass to Frawley's maybe a touch too high. Frawley jumping, can't quite take it over his shoulder. Drop ball, man, and Libok just pounces on it. He's scampers away and then gets the ball to the support runner, Hartzenberg. Suddenly, 17 points to 0. Up away from home, like Leinster A or B team or whatever, man, that's no easy feat. So 17 points to 0 up. Admittedly, wind at their backs, and the crowd, like it's a good crowd there for a bloody rainy day. The crowd, I think, have to get behind the team, and they do start to. Leinster do manage to go through a bunch of phases before half time. Eventually, they get advantage, and the pressure just pays. They're able to send Milne over, of all people. At least they get 5 points on the board before halftime. Can't quite take the conversion. At that point, I have to leave the house because my daughter's got a class to attend, so I drive my family away. My wife had the game on my phone so I could at least listen to part of it. That was just after the Milne try. By the time I got back, I've missed the penny try. I just got back in time to see the scoreboard tick over. I didn't see the try, but apparently penny went over. I missed it, but they missed the conversion. So Leinster, with the wind at their back, apparently didn't take long to get things going. So, they got 10 points on the board. Do tell me what happens with that one. I'll have to check out the highlights after the game. But, Harry Byrne starts going into 50-22 mode. They need to keep a stat on that. I haven't found any sites that track like 50-22s kicked. But Harry Byrne, he kicked one pretty early on. Although, not long later, Stephen Kitsoff won a line-out steal, and the commentator I had said something like, that must be the first line-out Stephen Kitsoff's ever taken. No. Like, in the last 12 months, I've seen him prior to this game at least steal 2 line-outs. Is it 3? Nah, the dude, for a prop, is a a proper poacher at line-out time, and he gets another one. So he pinches line-out ball, and maybe the Stormers need to score here. Stormers steal the line-out. Daimani gets a big line break, and like he's quick for a Lucy. I vaguely remember back when he was at the Lions as a youngster, they were talking about potentially turning him into a midfielder because he's kind of got that build where he could go one way or the other. But he stayed in the loose forwards. He's got some wheels, but Liam Turner did really well to run him down. And Leinster managed to win a breakdown penalty on their own line, which was a bit of an escape because if the Stormers get a try there into the wind, that would have been, a big momentum shifter. But Leinster able to hold on. And then the momentum shifts again. It's tough on Clayton Blommakeys, and he makes up for it later. But geez, does he make a meal of that kick through from Harry Byrne. It's just a kick over the top. I mean, swirling wind and whatnot doesn't make his life any easier, but he doesn't do a good job of it. So he can't take the ball. It's loose. Leinster are able to gather it. Maloney has a big carry. I think he flattens Blommakeys again. And then Russell's able to finish that one off. So, Leinster have certainly started the second half well. Missed conversion, but 15-17. And boy, if you didn't notice the crowd up until this point, they are absolutely in your eardrums by this point. Man, they are letting you know that you are away from home if you're a Stormers fan, and every other kick from then on out, the crowd will, when the ball's coming down the Stormers guys under, they'll be like, trying to get him to drop it, but I don't think they dropped anymore. But man, I love that. I love that kind of, just the tension between the fans and the players, like crowd trying to get in and help their team out. It's gold. It's absolute gold. But yeah, I thought the game was going to be blown out for the Leinster boys after the Deegan try. Now the Deegan try's got a little bit. I mean, Deegan's got a hand in the build-up to it because the box kick from the Stormers gets touched by Deegan. So the ball gets kind of charged down. It comes back for another Harry Byrne 50-22. There's a bit of handbags. The referee has to work out whether it is indeed 50-22. He says it's a 50-22. Leinster maul it. The backs get in there. It looks like it might be going to go over, but there's just bloody bodies everywhere all over the ground. And eventually the ref rules that Hartzenberg, of all people, side entry collapsed the maul. So he's getting yellow carded. And from there, Leinster tap, one more phase, and Deegan just reaches over the old Go-Go Gadget arms. And 22-17. Now looking at the Leinster scoring, end of the first half, 39, 43, 53, 59. Like that's a pretty tight space of scoring. I was assuming Leinster's just with the wind at their backs are going to push on, and the Stormers are going to go down here, but not really. The Stormers scrum got them back in the game. Scrum penalty, a bit more handbags. The ref had said at the last handbags, any more handbags are going to be dealt with, but not really. Not really. It's like if you say to your kids, if you do that again, you're going to go to your room or whatever, and then you don't follow it up. I think he's maybe lucky there weren't more handbags because I think that was the last one. But anyway, Stormers win the scrum penalty. Then Connors gives away an offside penalty, which gives the Stormers a chance. Maybe, do you go for goal right in front? No. The Stormers decide, I guess the wind is also a factor, but you go for the jugular. Despite the fact they're a man down, which is, credit to them for not backing down. They maul it, they go through some phases, and eventually Libok puts a little dinking kick through to Blommakeys, and he can't get there, surely, but bloody hell he gets there. That's a great finish. It's a great finish. It's a great try, especially given that Blommakeys not long ago had mucked one up and directly cost his team a try. So, great finish. Missed conversion. He took a while to take the kick, but couldn't put them in front. That's the final scoring. So, yeah, I guess both sides got that one try into the wind, right? Most of the tries were scored by the team playing with the wind at their back. There was an advantage later on. They put a kick through for Russell, and Blommakeys did well again to kind of shut that one down. Although Leinster had advantage, they went back for a penalty, which Harry Byrne almost got. It hit the post, so not quite in, shaved the post and out. The Stormers looked like they had the momentum to maybe get themselves a scoring opportunity right at the death, but then Russell was there to intercept the Stormers' pass, and Leinster happy to take the draw. Kicked the thing out. The commentators mentioned that that should see them in first place come the end of the tournament. So there you go, 22-22, top of the table clash. Maybe fitting that it's a draw, but it was cracker stuff. Had good moments both ways, despite the conditions. Loving the crowd. Loving the post-match stuff, like the Stormers guys were giving a hip hip hooray for the Leinster boys. Like, yeah, proper rugby, man. That's a good way to start my weekend. Anyway, possession 54-46 to Leinster. Territory 55-45 to the Stormers. Run meters 399, 306 to the Stormers. Defenders beaten 24-21 to Leinster. Like, it's a proper split. Like, everyone's got different things that went their way. The Leinster boys passed it a ton more, which is what they do, 195 to 136. But the Stormers' goal kicking was a lot better. 3 from 4, whereas Leinster were 1 from 5. So one more goal kick. And it's a different story, but there you go. Lineouts were actually surprisingly solid given the wind. 11 from 13 and 10 from 12, so both sides just missed a couple. Livock finishes with 108 metres, plus his try, plus 3 goal kicks, plus 4 defenders beaten. Not a bad shift. Ben Jason Dixon, the top tackler of the game, with 23. Mal Herbert makes 20. Rob Russell wins a couple of turnovers, including that one at the death. Jordan Lama beats 7 defenders. John McKee has 44 run metres. Goodness gracious, for a front rower. Happy days, but yeah, there you go, folks. Stormers and Leinster. Not a bad way for you guys to have your Friday, or for those of us in this part of the world to start our Saturday. So yeah, let us know your thoughts on the game, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Together.